Okay, we're up on YouTube. We're good to go.
All right, it's 4:52 p.m. and we're going to start the Monday, June 14th meeting of the Public Works and Utilities Committee. If we could just start with a brief moment of silence. Amen.
Amen.
All right, it looks like the May 24th minutes have been deferred, so we're going to go all the way down to temporary encroachments. Mr. O'Brien, anything stick out there?
You're on mute, Tom.
I apologize. Mr. Vice Chairman, no, sir, nothing sticks out. I was hoping, though, I'd sent everyone an email earlier today. We had one encroachment we desired to add. If it's the committee's pleasure to add that, that will help us tremendously with the King Harriet drainage project with the laydown area. And Matt can answer any questions, but both stormwater and engineering fully support this encroachment. And if it is a pleasure, we would just like to add that as we've recommended for approval and just accept as information for the committee.
All right, can we have a motion?
This is a motion to add one item to the agenda. Is that the request? So move.
Second.
Okay, that's the motion to add the item to the agenda. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? Ayes have it. So we're going to add that item to the agenda for information, correct?
And
Mr.
Mr. Vice Chairman, I think Susan had her hand up.
Yeah, even if it's for information only, we would just need to have a finding of the urgency or exigency needed to add this matter to the agenda, Tom, and I'm sure there is one. Or Matt, you can probably tell us why it's important to have this considered today.
Yep, go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, thank you. So it's a good point, Mr. Dina. The work is basically to be able to stockpile materials to the south of UG Street under the I-26 overpass. We actually have the encroachment agreements from SCDOT, but because the city is also has a lease agreement on this parcel, we've gone through the city encroachment permitting process, despite it being a city project, just for clarity and making sure we're all on the same page. And yes, since we're in active construction on that project, waiting an additional month for the next meeting would be a significant impact, obviously, to the project. So we'd like to do that now. It's mostly a noise reduction consideration for the Enston homes that back up on the current laydown area. This is a nighttime only project. So it's basically continuous backup alarms for the residents, or moving it to the south side of the street to help with that.
All right, that sounds pretty exigent to me. All right, if there's nothing further there, we're going to go all the way down to Stormwater Management Department update because we have no public service updates this meeting.
I think the mayor had his hand up, and there was a vote to add the item to the agenda, but we need to go ahead and vote on it as well.
The items listed under that are for information only. So is a vote needed?
Okay.
Yeah. No.
We're good with it. It's just information only.
Okay, Mr. Mayor.
So I just wanted to ask a question about one of the temporary encroachments, and I guess the nature of the encroachment says it's permanent. The first one on 31 and 32. So if that was permanent, I was just curious as to what that encroachment was.
Mayor, those are overhangs on that building, balcony overhangs at the second level and above of that building.
I see.
Yes, sir.
All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Anything further on the temporary encroachments? If not, we'll go down to stormwater management update. Mr. Fountain, take it away. And on the King Yuji and Forest Acres, I know you're probably going to have to say those again tomorrow because you're going to have a lot of people in council that want to hear. So you don't have to give us the elongated version if you want to tonight, because I'm sure we're going to get the exact same report again tomorrow.
I'll keep it very brief. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.
So the first item is a request for a recommendation to approve a professional services contract with Salmons Dredging Corporation, the amount of $181,875. This was a competitive, publicly bid RFP process. This is basically to provide the access into the deep tunnels for the inspection crews to go down and do the 1-year warranty inspection after that project has been finished, to verify that the workmanship on the tunnels has held up through the warranty period as we expect it to, so that we can close out that warranty and basically allow the contractor to close out that portion of the project.
All right, do we have a motion?
I'll move for approval.
All
Second.
right. All right, we've got a motion and a second. All those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any nays? The ayes have it. Item number 2.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This one is a piece of information for the committee, because I know this is an area of a lot of interest generally to council. The Forest Acres, the first phase of the drainage project, that is the bikeway. Just an update that we've had issues with basically trash collecting along that system, especially with increased usage, I think, during the pandemic. We're going to go and replace what would be called the trash rack in industry parlance, but maybe a bulk object screen sounds certainly a lot better. It basically collects all the floatables that come down, bags and soda bottles and things that come down the trash rack into the 5th Avenue outfall into the marsh. So we'll be doing a repair and replacement of that to basically do a much better job capturing that before it can get out into the marsh in that area.
All right, any questions on that? All right, if not, we'll go on to item number 3.
And this is related to the item that we talked about just a moment ago with Mr. O'Brien. We've obviously gotten going on the King UG project. It is a nighttime closure project. It's actually been going relatively well, other than the epic rainstorms that we've been having every evening. The only complaint we've really had is from some of the homes and instant homes that back up directly into the laydown area, where they do have a lot of backup alarms. So that's where we have worked with DOT and then the different city departments to shift some of that laydown to the south side of UG Street under the overpass, which should significantly reduce the noise for those neighbors. I think that will help quite a bit, and again, be a good success for keeping that project moving forward.
All right, anybody have anything on that? Mr. Mayor?
So I should have asked about this a minute ago, but I presume you checked with the business owners on both sides about the parking in there, because they're not paying for it right now. They should be at a future date, but that parking lot on the south side is being actively used.
Yeah, so we have talked with the property owners on both sides. As you mentioned, neither of them actually have permits to be using it. It's sort of used by their guests voluntarily.
Right.
Because we're in an evening construction project, most of the owners generally seem to understand that actually the major concern in that area is more related to a truck unloading loading area, of course, right in what will eventually become the low line. So that's something that we've been talking to that business owner who has some questions about how they might resolve that in the long run. I guess they've had some challenges with the BAR in the past of trying to make a loading unloading zone in the area for them. But that's in the short run, of course, we seem to have good general support, because I think they understand the importance of that project from a flood relief perspective to keep their businesses viable in the long run.
Well, thank you. And that I hadn't thought to speak with that property owner yet, or have someone talk to him about the low line, but because it seems to me when I go through there that they use our property, our low line property, in order to get to their little loading docks in the back of the building.
Yeah, so we've been in pretty heavy discussion with them. They've actually been good partners with us on the work. I think they understand what we're trying to do and what they're trying to do. We're trying to keep as minimal the disruption to their parking as possible, though of course there will be times that there's conflict, but we're not working on the weekends, which I think is their peak business. So we'll try to keep it cleaned up and available for them whenever we can.
Great. Thank you.
Absolutely.
And I think the Catholic Church uses that property across the street for overflow parking as well. So if you're not interrupting that use, then that would go greatly appreciated.
Yeah, certainly, Councilman. We've been in close discussions with the church throughout the whole project. We will touch base with them on the parking just to make sure we've talked to them about that. But yes, we'll try to keep those impacts minimal. The challenge we have on most of this project site is that we're removing quite a bit of soil from the intersection. That soil because of the gas station contamination in the area, has to be taken to a landfill, but the landfills, of course, are not open in the evening. So basically, it's very, very, very low level contamination. We basically just put it on plastic sheeting over in that area and store it, and then haul it out in the morning when the landfills open up. So generally, we can reopen that parking during the time that most people would want to be using it, but we will try to keep that as a minimum disruption.
All right, thank you. Great points. Thank you, Matt, for that information. Is anything else on this matter? Hearing none, do we have anything else that needs to be brought up to this committee? Councilmember Shade?
Yeah, this is more of a question for Matt. I've noticed in my district, Matt, signs about stormwater improvement on ditches and stuff. Do you have a more definitive schedule of when particular work is going to be done out in particular neighborhoods?
So we do have a schedule for what's being done, like for the next quarter, for the next 90 days with it when we start each quarter. We don't have an exact date for the start period, like on each road, because a lot of it depends on weather and how long the previous road takes. But we do try to notify anyone who's typically working in from a ditch cleaning perspective for the upcoming quarter about these are the roads that are planned.
Is that available online, or is that something you could share with us?
Yeah, I can certainly share it with you. It's not available online at this point. We're working on getting the cleaned roads online and having a better program for it, but I can certainly share with you what the upcoming roads are. And I've talked with the council members whose roads are upcoming. I don't think we have any in the short run, District Councilman Shea, but there's always an opportunity if we're doing a request that comes in through the citizen line. Those are, we do a lot of those, so those are not as carefully notified to the council member, certainly.
Right. Listen, I've already gone through some controversy with it. I know Councilmember Jackson has already. So it's just any advance warning and notice we can give to our constituents so they know what's coming is always greatly appreciated. And we're gonna have some pushback on this, and some people will be extremely happy with what you're doing, but notice is always helpful. Yeah, no, that's a good point. That's something between you, like you're saying, Councilman, one of your districts, and then certainly Councilman Jackson's recent district. I think that's something we've built into our process now moving forward, is more outreach with the elected officials who represent that area so that they're able to talk with the homeowners associations and neighborhood associations in advance and sort of give a heads up. And we did have another good reminder this weekend, I suppose, of why we're going through this work. And it continues to be challenging. I will tell you that for the first time in my neighborhood, there were families of ducks all around my various intersections. It was quite an interesting contribution to my constituency base.
All right. Anything else to come before this committee? If not,
Good job running the meeting.
All right.
If not, by acclamation, we stand adjourned. And remind Councilmember Waring that I did it in about 1/4 of the time that he would have done it.
Pretty good.
I would say 1/8 of the time. Actually.
Pretty good.
There you
You're
go.
right, because
Harry.
we would have had to have waited on him for another 20 minutes probably first, and then got started.